Employers, what's the weirdest, stupidest answer you've seen on a job application? Asterisk, asterisk, attention. Asterisk, asterisk, if you plan to give examples of a bad, inappropriate email address on a resume. Asterisk, asterisk, do not post an email address, even if it's obviously fake. Asterisk, asterisk. Rather use something like, childish email here, quote. Otherwise your comment will not be seen. We do not allow any type of personal information, even if it's supposed to be fake. See rule number 4 for more details. Thanks. Penis. Hiring for a convenience store in the U.S. So we always scraped the bottom of the barrel and hired anyone who showed up to the interview. In this particular region, meth was so rampant that we drug-tested potential employees. I did the interview, gave the kid the urinalysis kit to bring to the clinic a block away. Called the clinic and said you can expect him shortly to administer the piss test. He never showed at the clinic. Didn't answer his phone. He came back to the store a week later, proudly holding a cup of urine that he was there to turn in. I asked him politely to please take the cup of pee out of my store and to never return. He looked confused. I then asked him why he didn't go directly to the clinic after the interview. He said he wanted to wait till he could pass the drug test. God bless his simple heart. He stayed clean for a week to get the job. That has to be worth something. Especially because he didn't even get somebody else's pee. He was determined to use his own pee, no matter how long it took. That kid's got determination to own that convenience store. I was working in retail in high school when someone came and dropped off a paper application. In the section about criminal history they checked yes they had prior convictions. In the space provided to state what the legal issues were they simply wrote, wrong place, wrong time. We kept that application around for a while. Old retail manager used to joke about one candidate he interviewed. A felony charge isn't a deal breaker for them, so they ask applicants to be honest about the monsieur. So about that drug charge, I just want y'all to know I wasn't using it. I just sold it. Hey, at least it shows salesmanship. I received a resume that was just their high school football accomplishments. No other experience written down. There was even a link to his highlight video. He also included a headshot of him in his football pads. He was 24. This makes me sad and cringe at the same time. Sports CVs usually include a picture of you like that, as well as teams, competitions you've played in, highlights, your weight, height, etc., that sort of thing. A sports CV is meant to be a profile for you as an athlete, to send to teams you want to join, or something your agent sends to teams for transfers. You don't use a sports CV for an actual job with the public. That makes no sense. I worked for a small company, and this resume got passed around. Turns out it was someone I'd worked with at my previous company. He was claiming to be the lead developer on a project that I wrote from the ground up with one other person, not him. I told my boss that we should interview this person for entertainment value. And why? So he did. I left people with the gotcha questions to ask, and he tried to bullshit his way through each one. I was the last interviewer, and the look on his face when I walked through the door was priceless. Gods, I would pay to see those interviews. Whenever anyone gets an interview to work in my department, our whole team looks over their resume and can ask the applicant questions. There was a guy who applied for a mid-career position and had a few connections with some higher-ups in our company, so they immediately scheduled an interview for him without actually reviewing his resume. When our team looked at his resume, he had it titled asterisk, "Why, you should hire me," asterisk, and had a bunch of run-on sentences and misspelled words. Our team was confused and thought he made a mistake. Apparently, he thought he had the job because of his connections. So he didn't take the whole applying process seriously. He didn't get the job. Saw a resume that, under the Education tab, went from Marine Officer Training School to simply Clown School. Not even the specific one. Just clown school. It's the same school. That actually explains a lot of second lieutenants. Had a chef once apply with. Good at helping my coworkers thieve whilst the restaurant is at its busiest. I'm sure he meant thrive, but us chefs aren't to be trusted. On her resume, under skills it said, I'm really smart. Like, I'm much smarter than everyone else. Edit, nope, this wasn't the Trumpster. And for some reason I didn't even think of Trump when I posted this, but it does sound like something he would do. This was a 25-year-old girl. This was also like 10 years ago. So the girl is out there somewhere perhaps? Another one you guys might like is the resume that I got from a 50-plus-year-old guy that said, see. Other side at the bottom. Monsieur, when I turned it over there was a handwritten message that said, I committed a bad crime, but it's something I want to speak to you about in person. I didn't call him in for an interview either. But did she have the best words too? And did she say a lot of things because she has a good brain? Good brain genes the best. No one has great brain genes like she has. Very big, very good. I was the candidate for this one. Due to how the Indian college system works, I was forced to participate in a written test for a company which did aerospace-focused software. I was not interested in actually clearing the test 10 years later. I still remember answering, what is the attitude of a satellite? With the satellite's attitude, i.e. mood, describes whether or not it wishes to remain in orbit. Satellites with a bad attitude are normally scrapped, otherwise they may decide to crash out of orbit or get into fights with other satellites. I had continued this for a 6 to 7 line paragraph. I wonder what the evaluators thought of me. At least they should have gotten a good laugh out of that one. The idea of a bad-tempered satellite picking fights with its neighbors is hilarious. An applicant for a job as a paid tenor soloist in performing a series of Bach cantatas was asked, please list sacred choral works, including cantatas, for which you have served as tenor soloist, He responded, none, but I can sing Shotgun Willie in the style of Willie Nelson. And why didn't you hire him? Exactly, I don't see the big problem. I had someone bring in a resume that was scrawled out on notebook paper ripped from a spiral-bound notebook, and they didn't even tear off the edge, so it was clean. This was for a high-level position. They wore a suit, carried a portfolio, which I assume had a spiral notebook in it, and never offered a word as to why they jotted down a resume in the parking lot. I wonder if they had printed it but forgotten to take it from the printer before heading to the interview. I would have worked with that discussion. We all have things go wrong. They didn't offer any discussion about it. They acted as if everything was going normal. Perfect manager. Never admit any fault. If something goes wrong, make sure to have a scapegoat. Be like Teflon. I had a job posting out and a potential candidate reached out to have a chat about the role. Senior management position. I told him my calendar was up to date and to book me. He booked me for 1 p.m. the following day with his phone number in the location. At 1:02 p.m. I call his number. He was waiting for his food at a burger place. So we're chatting. He gets his food and says, I'm going to crush this burger while we talk. He was shocked when he didn't get a formal interview. I once had an interviewer call me an hour late. So I happened to be eating dinner when she finally called. Not a big deal. Interview went fine and I even got a second interview out of it. But I always thought that the company was not respectful of my time. It wasn't until over a year later that I realized that there was a 1-hour time difference and neither of us had specified a time zone. Not so much an answer. But I've seen a shocking amount of resumes and applications with really awkward and unprofessional email addresses. Before being a position where I reviewed resumes, I never would have thought so many people would provide an email address like baddest_bitch420 or sexymama_69 to a potential employer. But a lot of people do. I once accidentally had my name on my Google account as Suck a Dick with a normal email address, and It took me 3 months of applying for jobs to finally understand what was wrong. Ha ha ha. I have seen this as well in the 12 years I've worked in HR. I've seen Love to Do 69, Big _TT_gal, and Ghetto _booty _queen as some of the more memorable ones. I hired Ghetto _booty _queen since she was actually very qualified and otherwise a great candidate, though gave her pointers on perhaps using a different email address should she ever leave our company. New email actually _very _qualified but also still _booty _queen. Was hiring in retail, got an amazing CV. Fit the position perfectly. They did put any contact details on the CV. I just want you to know what you're missing out on. That's a total power move. They know they're badass and want your company to do the legwork if they want to hire them that badly. I had a resume that I formatted beautifully, and chose to put my contact info in a big footer spanning the bottom of the page. Never heard back and didn't know why. A year later I was applying for something else and dug up that same resume. Scanning it, I couldn't find the contact info. I soon remembered it was at the bottom. But that's when I realized that asterisk people are so trained to look for the contact info at the top. It never occurs to them to look anywhere else. Asterisk. As far as the HR people were concerned, my resume didn't have my contact info. Not an employer, but I work in HR. Once a person sent just her CV. It was actually not the CV, but a picture of the CV. And the picture was blurry. And the CV was partially folded. I just thought, you had one job. Quote, you had one job, but it ain't gonna be this one. Applicant had been convicted for theft under $1,000. One special skill, money handling. Edit. Reckon I should correct a misspelling now that so many people have read this comment. Well, to be fair, he apparently did handle the money. Was hiring a chef for a pub. UK. Person applied and ticked the boxes saying they couldn't work weekends, evenings or bank holidays, so maybe don't apply to work in a pub then. Not the worst thing, but did they really think they would even get an interview? I had a friend who was wondering why he couldn't get a job, so I told him to send his CV, and it said on there, I'm a student so I can only work Saturdays. I was amazed that he was shocked he had no offers. I told him he's gonna have to suck it up and work after college if I really want a job. He changed his CV and eventually got one. It is crazy that people think they will have a chance when they straight up say, I can only do this. Day. Glad your friend listened to you and got a job. A lot of people would just ignore good advice like that, then keep complaining they can't find work. Especially when it's lower-end jobs where your availability is pretty much your prime qualification. Not an employer, but I worked in HR back in the 70s. One applicant under the question regarding convictions wrote that he'd served 6 years in prison for the murder of his wife's lover. He finished by saying that he and his wife were back together. So tell us about a problem that you fixed while showing leadership. Always try to put a positive spin on a negative. I applaud. Hi monsieur. TL. Dr. Kid shows other people's work and makes up a degree. Gets caught. Not an application, but in the interview. The kid claimed to have a master's degree in the field, and an internship. During the interview, he fumbled even the most basic questions about the discipline, and asterisk showed someone else's work as his own asterisk. The reason I know this is because he actually said, oh, I'm sorry about the PowerPoint. My coworker made it. My jaw dropped. He was so bad that the other interviewer slacked me, asking if the kid even went to school. So confused at how bad this was, I went to his university's website to see what kind of education produces such a horrible candidate. Well, turns out the school didn't offer the degree at all. He made up the degree, put it on his resume, and somehow thought that the hiring manager with 10 years of experience in the field wouldn't catch it. Greater than he was so bad that the other interviewer slacked me asking if the kid even went to school. So confused at how bad this was, I went to his university's website to see what kind of education produces such a horrible candidate. Greater than, well, turns out the school didn't offer the degree at all. He made up the degree, put it on his resume, and somehow thought that the hiring manager with 10 years of experience in the field wouldn't catch it. Don't mean to be a dick if it comes across as it. But had he not have fumbled the interview so hard, would you have checked the site, and would he have actually gotten away with that? Or is a check like that going to be a standard thing anyway? Not off, but I always check basic info. Look up schools, jobs, before the interview so as not to waste anyone's time. And HR checks if we want to make an offer. They would have to have a friend at the university to have a chance at faking their education. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.